damn near fell off my chair. Y'all heard his wife earlier in the evening. Give it up for Doug Sterner.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, good to be here. You've met my wife, Pam. I was under the impression that I was supposed to come after Pam tonight, which would have been a first. But then they stuck two more guys in there between the two of us, which under other circumstances would have been fantasy fulfilling for. But I'm not really a comic. This is only my second time getting up. I'm just doing this to defend myself. You see, for the last several months, I've been driving my wife around to all the clubs to do her comedy routines. And I've listened to her get up in front of rooms full of complete strangers and tell them about our life, our sex life, the most intimate details of our relationship. Virtually everybody in the D.C. area knows that the one thing Doug Sterner and Bob Dole have in common is Viagra. And I'm old school, I'm old-fashioned. I think sex is something that you don't really talk about, you know, it's private between a man and a woman at night in the bedroom 1 or 2 minutes before you go to sleep. You might say it's ambient for men. When I first met Pat, you would not have talked about sex. I mean, I was 24 years old, I fought the war, I've been around the world by both definitions, and she was a sweet little 17-year-old girl, Alabama, Southern girl, still a virgin. She makes fun of Montana, and I'll tell you what. I didn't think they had 17-year-old virgins. I thought 17-year-old virgins in Alabama were rarer than teeth. Especially if the girl has cousins. But it's true. A couple years ago, she nagged me into going in for a prescription for Viagra. Now, I'm a man from Montana. I hadn't been to a doctor for 30 years, so I didn't have a doctor. I had to go in and see her doctor, who is a woman, number one. That's kind of intimidating. And I'm older, so I know that these examinations get a little personal. I had my mind made up. If the rubber glove came out and the little finger did that thing, I was going to be out that door quicker than a male orgasm. So I went in. Pam followed me in to make sure I wouldn't chicken out. This actually happened. And I looked at the doctor. I said, you know, check my heart, check my blood pressure. I'm just here to get a prescription for Viagra to get my wife off my back. And she said, okay, Mr. Sterner, then I assume your wife is still sexually active. I said, no, she usually just lays there and lets me finish. She said, but you're having a little bit of problem in this department, right? Duh, I'm here to get boner pills. But I didn't tell her that. Not really. She said, anything unusual about your sex life? I said, well, now, in the last year, you know, one time I have sex and I get cold chills. And the next time I have sex and I get hot sweats. And I can see the mind turning, and she's getting this look at her eye like, we're going to have to do a little bit more here. Fortunately, Pam saved me from the corner. I heard her speak up. She said, no, doctor, there's a reasonable explanation for that. You see, the first time we had sex was in January and it was cold. The last time we had sex was last week and it was June when it was hot out. So the doctor said, well, you're healthy enough for Viagra. How much do you want? I said, a year's supply. 2 pills should do the trick. And Pam's got to this point now that she thinks that maybe some of this ought to be about her. I mean, after sex, now she turns to me and she coos, honey, I didn't come yet. To which I promptly replied, and she complains that there's no Viagra for women. She said, you know, it's all about men. If women needed it, men wouldn't go out and get it. It's all about you men. Well, that's not true. She told us she takes Ambien. That loosens up her inhibitions. She also takes Cymbalta, and you younger guys, once your women there, Cymbalta is an aphrodisiac. It does work. But there is Viagra for women. It's not in pill form. It's in this little book that came out about a year or two ago. That 50 Shades of Grey book. Viagra for women. She read the damn thing. If I'd known what Shades of Grey was just the stories of the children of interracial marriages. So she reads that damn book and she comes up with all these crazy ideas, and I don't understand it. I'm old school. I thought anal beads was just another word for dingleberries. I come home, she's laying there on the kitchen table, naked as a jaybird, and she looks up at me and she says, "Guess what's for dinner?" I said, "Leftovers again?" I have a habit. It's a man thing. Saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. In February, she said, "Doug, you've got a birthday coming up. I want to do something special for you. I want you to think about all my girlfriends that you know, because for your birthday, I'm going to give you a threesome. Now, who should I invite?" I named 2 of them. She had an ulterior motive. She said, "Honey, I've always wanted to have a bi experience." So I gave her the credit card and sent her shopping at the mall. If you could see our bills, you'd think our whole marriage has been a bi experience for her. But down deep, I do want to please her. We've been married 38 years. And so here a couple nights ago, I came home with a burger and fries thinking she would be happy. And she just looked at me and she said, "That's not what I meant when I said I wanted to do 5 guys tonight." She said she wanted more happy endings, so I bought her a Disney DVD collection. Missed the point. She said she wanted a facial, so I drove her to the beauty parlor. And then the other night, we're laying there in bed, and the Ambient's working, and the Cymbalta's working, and the Viagra is, well, my age, it has to kind of work overtime. And she got that 50 Shades look in her eyes, and she looked at me and she said, "Honey, tonight, I'd like a cream pie." So I got